Don't faint.
Hi, and welcome to the Cub TV, part of the Currently Unnamed Podcast Network, where we put the real and the tea into reality, and you can always come here first to quench your thirst. I'm Brook, and I'm passionate about pop culture, and while I may not be a fan of some man, I do feel bad for him. And welcome to Survivor coverage here on the Cub TV. Yay! We're back for episode 3. Woo. I'm living.
Hello. My name is Jack. I'm the resident game designer of the panel, and I also have a binder full of venomous snakes in my area. Most of them are just 60-year-old men that I don't really want to talk to anymore, but that's just how it happens.
So real.
And I'm Mike. I'm your buff bodybuilding correspondent down in Dallas, Texas. I put the him in himbo and gay in video gamer. And this episode, we have officially started the unintentional Nat Sing, y'all. Let's go. I think that means Sophie is confirmed winner of the season. Let's put it in now. I'm going to put my stock in now.
To be clear, that's Sophie with an I, not Sophie with an I-E. To be very
Sophie with an I.
Yeah. Sophie no E versus Sophie with E because
we didn't have enough problems with two Kellys on multiple seasons of the show. We didn't already have to deal with that.
What is going to happen when they're both at the same tribal and they're the two targets, and that's just all the votes are going to be?
They'll just do the last initial thing, I hope.
No.
Right. Or maybe they'll call one of them Purple Sophie. That would be fun.
I mean, she's in purple area right now.
Let's pop quiz both of you Survivor people. Okay, Survivor Nicaragua, we had Purple Kele. Does anyone remember the other Kele and why they called her Purple, and why they had to call her Purple Kele and not just Kele? Does anyone remember her name?
From Nicaragua?
Name? Yeah.
Oh, her actual name. I don't know.
Not Purple Kele, the other Kele, because there were two Kellys on Nicaragua.
No.
For some reason, and I know it's wrong, I have the inclination that Purple Kele had like purple in her hair, and that's the reason she was called.
She wore a lot of purple.
She had purple. She had a purple streaker in her hair, and that is why she was Purple Kele. What was the other Kelly's last? Like what they called her, because they didn't just call her Kele, they called her Kele something.
I have no
I know, like my mind went to, oh yes, Kellys that are important to Survivor. Wentworth. No. Wait. Is it actually Wentworth?
No, it's not Wentworth.
Okay, I was going to say, like, there's no way that's the reasoning, and I'm just like fully blanking that part out of my brain.
So it was Kelly Bruno, Kelly B. You may know her as the girl with the prosthetic leg on Nicaragua.
That's right. Okay, I remember her now. Okay.
Yeah. See, the only reason I remember is because I just got done with a watch through in Nicaragua like 3 months ago. So like,
I remember like Nyanka said this about like smacking her so hard her leg would fall or something like that.
Yeah.
Because she was unhinged.
I went back and rewatched Nicaragua with the thought that maybe, just maybe, it wasn't as bad as I remember. And I was wrong. But yeah, we're not talking about Nicaragua today. Today we're talking about Survivor Philippines.
Basically.
Welcome to Survivor 49, where we repeat Survivor Philippines because it was too good the first time not to. Blue Tribe loses the first 4 people of the season. I'm down. I'm sad. But before we get into all of that, make sure you guys go ahead and hit that big red subscribe button. We are on a mission to try to get 1,000 new subscribers across all of our channels this year. And of course, make sure to buy your merch, including but not limited to cup mug at laundrycreations.etsy.com. That link is in the description down below. And I believe it is the QR code on the top right corner of your screen.
And the mug you'll get is Mike's with 2 logos because we redesigned it to be much more reasonable.
And I'm telling you right now, the girlies that have the 1.0 mug,
it's a collector.
collectors. It's a collector's item now. We ain't making it ever again. And other merch too, including the cup bottle. I believe that at one point there were cup socks. I don't know if we still have cup socks. There's a lot of stuff on the store, so go check it out. But now we must talk about Survivor, or what limited amount of Survivor there is to talk about. Because for a 90-minute episode, it was rather boring.
This felt like the episode in Co Wrong when Beast Mode Cowboy was it on Co Wrong, where like half the episode was just a medical drama. So
yeah,
and I will say, out of every single medevac that we have ever had on Survivor, this was the one where I think the producers were like, "Oh shit, somebody died." Like, even more than Mr. Scoops in Australia. Like, really. And like, when I'm thinking, like, considering the amount of medical evacs we've had, and surprisingly for a show like Survivor, we haven't had a ton of them. I think this and Caleb are probably the two that are like, yeah, somebody might have died.
Yeah. I think they were clearly very concerned. I mean, especially when they were able to ID the snake that bit him. And I mean, you saw him with Alex. He was just like, this is probably one of the worst ones to get bit by out here. Very scary situation all around.
He could have genuinely have been struck by lightning and they would have like been a little slower. Like, this is like worst case scenario in terms of like, if he dies, this show is canceled on the spot.
I will say, someone has died on Survivor before. Survivor Turkey, I do believe. So like, when somebody had a heart attack on a season. Somebody had a heart attack on an international season of Survivor several years ago. And I remember at the time people were talking about it like, oh, I can't believe this has never happened before. And I'm like, me too. But we also got to remember too, when we're talking about Survivor, there is that inherent risk of you are out in the wilderness. You never know what's going to happen. But it is a lot more controlled than being thrown on a beach with no resources. And they know where to and where not to go and what is dangerous and what they need to avoid and all that stuff.
And I think we saw a barrier of that. They kind of pulled the curtain back a little bit with the doctor that they had. And I watched this with Jonathan, and he was just sort of like, well, he could definitely go back. Like, it's his decision to go back. But I'm like, it's a liability thing at this point. Like, it's out of his control. If the doctor says he doesn't feel comfortable putting him back in, that's honestly a legal decision on their part. They're just like, this is too much of a risk. And in the end, as much as a person, I don't particularly care for Jake. This was really terrible to happen to him. So I do feel bad for him on a human level that he went through this traumatic ordeal. And I feel bad that he got taken out of the game in this way. No one wants to go out of the game in this way. But ultimately, it's not his game. It's Survivor's game, and it's their legal butts on the line. So we saw that there are medical safeguards in place for these kinds of situations.
We've kind of danced around. So let's go ahead and pull up the banner. Jake was medically evacuated, bitten by a banded sea snake. For the record, I would like to make a couple things clear that Survivor was not fully clear on in this episode. Had the snake put venom in his body, he would have been dead in about 3 or 4 minutes from before they even got him to base camp. Like, this is one of those situations where I think they have settled in Fiji now because, one, They very clearly have more permanent buildings in place. Like base camp had an actual building and not a tent for them for the medical facility. But we also have to consider that in terms of controlled environment, Fiji is a relatively controlled environment. You're not in the middle of Gabon with an elephant wandering 20 feet near the shelters, and you're not in the middle of Brazil wondering if you're going to die from some random thing in the middle of the Amazon forest, right? Where they are at is safe and relatively controlled as best as possible, to the point where we've been in Fiji, like Jeff said, for a decade, and nothing like this has happened. And it's important to remember that pretty much every medical evacuation we've had since we moved to Fiji has either been like Bruce knocking the crap out of his own head, or in this case, a freak situation that has never happened on Survivor and is extremely rare in general.
Yeah.
Because even according to the book, which, oh my God, they showed the book on camera. Crazy. But even in the book, it mentions that these things don't normally bite people. They're very chill, don't really get involved with people unless they get provoked. I'm not going to say Jake provoked the thing because that's not our place and is not shown in the episode at all. But it is a possibility that could have happened. But either way, he's lucky he didn't die.
I mean, I was a little curious. I mean, I think for legal reasons, they might have had footage of it and they are just omitting it from the whole situation. Yeah, I think like freak accidents like this, I mean, it's a wild animal. We don't know how it's going to interact with people. He might have been try to get up, and it just kind of felt threatened and just latched onto him. We don't know the situation. We can't really speculate one way or the other. As much as, we have said in the past how we are not particularly pleased with this person, I don't think it's our place to really say like, oh, Jake did this or he deserves this. He doesn't deserve this. This was a terrible situation. And I would rather see him voted out and like egg on his face in that way. Never a medevac. That's just not a fun situation. It just brings it. This is the game in the end, and we don't want these real situations coming into it.
I mean, like, look, was Jake the most pleasant personality on the season? No. Okay. But I don't want this to happen to anybody ever. And I mean, look, if we're talking about like medical evacuations of villains, even Colton, right? Who I'm based on the Colton that was on Survivor at the time, because I know Colton has done a lot of growth since then. The Colton that was on Survivor, I didn't want him to get evacuated. I wanted somebody to vote his ass out because that would have been satisfying as hell. But,
right,
we don't want these people to have their lives in danger because of our personal feelings on them. Personally, I did not think I was going to be saying this season. I think they need to bring him back if he wants to come back, because this is one of these crazy situations, right? And especially because in the new era, we've set that precedent already with Bruce, where they have the medevac that's mostly out of the player's control, and then they brought Bruce back basically immediately. And I know that is a different situation if Bruce literally got evacuated on the first day, but in Jake's case, as far as we know, and I feel like if they would have said something like, oh, he got in the snake's space and it like latched on him or something like that, they would have said that. I really feel like in this circumstance, if he wants to come back, they should let him come back in the future. Because I know there was speculation ages ago, I found out that they thought this had originally been Savannah, and that's why she came back for 50. No, it ain't happening. I can tell you right now, we know, the spoiler alert, Savannah's coming back for 50. But with this situation here, I do feel bad for him, especially. We do find out in the episode that he's okay. He is totally fine now. And he did at least get home and get to be there when his wife gave birth, which out of anything that could have happened in this situation, at least there's that. At least that is something he can have here.
I was really happy to see that. I honestly, my heart kind of broke for him. I was like, oh my goodness, if he misses his son's birth on top of that, of being medevaced, it would have really kind of crushed me. But he did make it home. He was able to be there for his son's birth. And so that's great. I'm really happy for him in that regard. Honestly, the most redeeming quality of his storyline was the story of his first son and what he was fighting for. And I agree. I would like to see him come back. I actually think he made a good structure around him on the tribe. Everybody seemed to kind of all the trust kind of seemed to revolve around Jake. And this was a kind of a tragic way for him to leave the game. I do think there is a precedent to ask him back, and I think Jeff does like him. So I think there's definitely there will be talks at the very least, serious talks about bringing him back for a future season.
And on the exact opposite end, obviously he provoked that snake. Obviously he got bit in the foot for a reason. Shoe bandit, whatever. No, I mean, it's a really unfortunate incident. I mean, the fact that this is essentially like lightning striking a contestant is insane. And will he be brought back? Probably. If anyone hopes for him on 50, I have several questions, because this is not the time to bring back someone who, granted, was in a decent position on their tribe, but mainly because the 4 people before the game kind of looked at each other and said, yeah, no, this is basically who we want to work with, and we don't want to work with the other 2, so they can just go home. So he was essentially guaranteed 2 rounds. I think the minute he probably walked onto a merge tribe, he was seen as a physical threat and taken out real fast. So, I mean, we can have him come back for 55 as a second chance, oh, well, we thought you would do better kind of thing. They'll probably bring Banu or someone back to complement it. But yeah, I mean, it massively swings this season, but I think it works in a really nice way.
And I think, real talk, I honestly think that we're going to be getting a bit of a refresh after 50. 50 does kind of feel like a good, it happens a lot of the time on Survivor where we get that one season that resets everything. Traditionally, it is a returning season. I mean, we think about it's All-Stars, Micronesia kind of did that. Heroes versus Villains definitely did that. Winners at War did it. I mean, well, we kind of had no choice with the break, but Winners at War did that. Second Chances did that too. I mean, you could argue Kage-On did it first, and then Second Chances was yep, this is the end of the era for sure. So when we're really sitting in the future, I hope that he gets an opportunity to finish this game on his terms. And I hope that for pretty much every medical evacuation. I don't want anybody to come and play this game and never get a chance to figure out what would have happened. That's also one of the reasons I love Philippines so much, is even if I really do not like one of those men that is on that cast, and again, fuck you, Mike Skupin.
Fair.
Yes. And I don't care for Russell Swan. Love Jonathan Penner. But I'm happy that at least they got the chance to figure out what could have happened for them in the future had they not been evacuated. So in the future, maybe revisit that theme, because I think that theme has a lot more left in the tank than maybe CBS might think it does. Yeah, so unfortunately for Kele, not only have they just lost the first 2 immunity challenges, they have now lost the tribe muscle. So Jake, gone. Before we go to the immunity challenge, because we did kind of skip a couple of things that happened. First off, we go to Hida, and they all decide, let's go find the Beware advantage, because if we find it, we can have it. We're completely together as a fully unified tribe. Jason, I love you, but no, you're not. And it was really, I feel so bad, because Jason seems like the most genuine human being that has been on Survivor in a couple seasons now. But watching MC and Steven, who are have done nothing wrong, but just be like, Jason's a great guy, but he's not in the 4. And
Well, we'll talk about it later, but the dynamic of the season as a whole, it may be fine for these people who are not in the inner, circle of their own tribe, because we'll talk about it in a little bit. It kind of may be a red versus yellow kind of season, and then everybody's vying for the favor of Alex and Sophie's vote. But we'll get to that when we get to that.
Yeah.
So it's looking up for Jason, Sophie, any of the other people, Jawan, these people who are on the outskirts.
I mean, they wouldn't include a comment of Jeff saying, normally the tribe that gets decimated really early the survivors do really well if said players were not about to do insanely well. So, like, the minute I hear that, I'm like, great, okay, we can just consider Sophie and Alex lock for merge, if not late merge, and we'll just see how they influence the other tribes fighting with each other.
But yeah, I thought it was interesting. People who are like idle searching, and there's like a big hole in a tree right next to, I don't know if it was Jason or MC, and I was just like, how did you miss that? I mean, I'm not on the island, so I can't, I can't judge, but I was like, there's a gigantic hole in that tree, and I don't know why you're not looking.
I know we've brought up Philippines a ton, but it really reminded me of Russell Swan being like, see, I know what you all are going to do in this episode, too. There's going to be this like little flashing light, and it's going to be right in front of my face. I probably walked past it about 10 times now. Like, that exact moment was exactly what I was thinking of here. Because, again, Jason walks right by this damn tree, and it's literally like the most distinct tree in this vicinity with a big ass hole in the front. And then so MC finds the beware advantage and shares it with Steven, who is apparently her number one, we have found out in this episode. Those two scare me as an alliance, because not only are they both on their tribe the most active challenge competitors alongside Jason, who has been crushing puzzles this season, I will say. But they both just seem to have this weird knack for the game. And when you have two really good players playing in perfect harmony, you get a Dom and Wendell kind of vibe from that. And I'm telling you right now, that's the energy I'm getting from MC and Steven.
I was thinking that too. They're very outwardly unassuming, but then you get all of these like, they're thinking very hard about the game, and you would never guess based on just the group dynamics, and those are the people you need to worry for. Those are the snakes those are the real banded snakes in the camp waiting to strike. Because just
just a drive night.
Well, whenever they strike, it's not going to be a drive. They're going to take out someone really big. Okay. So watch this space with MC and Steven.
I want to say something, and this is such a dumb, stupid, pedantic thing to complain about, but it really fucking bothers me. In this episode, they kept on saying the snake was poisonous. It's not poisonous. It's venomous. And I was literally seething. Like I was like, it took me out of the moment, because they didn't just say it once. They said it like 3 different times that this was a poisonous snake. I'm like, poisonous snake. It's a venomous snake.
Y'all, if they use fangs or a needle to go in, it is venomous. It is venom. If it's rubbed or ingested, it's poisonous. So frogs and toadstools and mushrooms are poisonous. Spiders and snakes are venomous.
If they hit you, it's venomous. If you hit them, it's poisonous. That's basically the distinction.
So I will again repeat, it is a dumb thing to be mad about, but I was a little irritated.
You were not the only one. I said it like 3 times, and Jonathan's like, it's the same thing.
No, it's not, Jonathan.
It's not.
See, this is how I can tell that the 3 of us are all vibing, because we all have the same fucking thought.
At the point, I'm just like, look, I know that these people are not going to figure this out. because I don't trust them to solve a basic puzzle. Do you think I'm going to assume them to know what the fucking difference between venom and poison is? The answer is no.
To be fair, the puzzle was actually really hard this episode. It was a pretty elaborate one this time around.
We'll
Fine, I'll give you that. Although I heavily disagree, but sure.
We'll talk about it when we get to it. We got another tribe to go visit first. Okay. So over on Uli, interesting situation today. We get a little bit of talk about the four again. The four. AKA that competition show we don't talk about because Diddy was a judge on it. But if you didn't watch the four back in the day, by the way, highly recommend. That show actually was pretty great. But
you can't just recommend the four after mentioning that Diddy's on it. You really can't.
As soon as you said Diddy's on it, no one's gonna watch it.
I know, but the performances were so good. It was a really good show with a bunch of very talented people that happened to be produced by a terrible human being, unfortunately.
Watch at your own risk, then. Uli.
Just go watch the clips on YouTube. They aren't making any more seasons. You're fine. But importantly, over on Uli, it's basically second verse them as the first is Hina, with pretty much all of Uli just being like, we're the four, or we're all vibing, and it's great. But we get this really interesting moment with Sage and Shannon where Sage talks about all of her close friends just basically ghosting her throughout her life. And then Shannon proceeds to immediately drop Sage to Savannah like that. Sage just tells her, like, yeah, I mean, Savannah's really insulated. People really like her. I'm worried about that if we go deep into the game with her. And Shannon doesn't care. Savannah's in the four. And Shannon's in the four, which means that Shannon will protect her ally in the four. And suddenly it feels like Sage is in trouble if Uli goes to tribal council tonight. Spoiler, they don't. But in this moment, I was like, Shannon, she just told you that all of her friends throughout her life have done this to her. Could you not have at least saved that until you guys went to tribal or something? Or like waited a little bit at least?
And the main problem, and I thought this was such a misstep from Shannon, it's like, in these kinds of games, information is currency. You don't just give out your currency to other people. Sage is a vote just like Shannon is a vote. If Shannon is not as useful, Savannah is a vote. If Savannah is just not as useful to you, Shannon, you can cut Savannah out at any point and put in Sage if she's going to be more loyal to you. I just feel like she's really kind of like, I have my four, I'm comfortable. I don't want to like rethink anything. And of course, we're seeing like small bits of this, but I'm just looking at it and I'm like, Sage looks like such a loyal person who's not going to stray that much from you. And if they're saying these, like really like deep conversations with you, maybe you should rethink whether or not you really want to cut someone like Sage. Meanwhile, like Savannah is clearly thinking, is clearly self-interested. And you have to think that self-interest is going to come at my expense at some point in this game. Especially if you think you're a true contender. So I thought this was a misstep from Shannon.
I would agree.
Yeah.
I mean, especially considering Sage was there for her, right? And it didn't even have to be Sage going if they went to tribal council. Look, y'all have already made it. You don't know it yet, but you've already beaten 3 people out of the game pre-merge. We've been merging at 12 for a minute now, or merging at 12 for a minute now, right? You're getting close. Odds say that maybe if you're lucky, you might end up getting one of the Kele members. You can just vote them out. You can vote out Jawan, who's also not in the 4. And then suddenly you have room in the merge with Sage, who you've protected and cultivated a good alliance with, and kept her thoughts on the game a secret. Now you threw her under the bus. Why would she want to work with you? And she doesn't know you've thrown her under the bus yet, to our knowledge. But based on how early this got shown, I'm assuming she's going to find out. So I think this was just way too early to be throwing things around like this if I'm Shannon.
you haven't lost. You've been doing pretty decently in challenges. You know the other tribe has been starving, and you know they can't do a puzzle. Unless literally all of your tribe mates lose the ability to use their hands, you will win immunity. It's not a question. Why are you doing this?
I think I don't know. There's been this like narrative for a few seasons now of like I want to beat the best, like people that we feel like are not like the strongest individual players, like we want to cut them in these like tribe areas, which I understand in the tribe strength, but your tribe is strong as is right now. I don't think that's the conversation right now. I think the conversation you need to have is who can I take into the merge that's going to be loyal to me? And Sage is saying really deep personal things to you. That's someone who's loyal. And I think you should value that above all else, honestly.
Well, and let's also focus on the fact that Savannah specifically has managed to form these really close bonds with people pretty much right out of the gate. And a lot of people like her and a lot of people want to work with her. Do you think that Sage is going to be a better ally? Savannah's going to be a better ally for you long term than Sage? Because if you think that, then you're just not aware of your position in the group right now, Shannon, unfortunately.
And I think you just also need to identify. Go ahead.
Being 100% honest, Shannon's on the bottom of the four based on what we've seen in the edit, because very clearly Rizzo is closer to Nate and Savannah than he is to Shannon from what we see in the edit. Savannah is closer to Rizzo and Nate than she is to Shannon. Nate might be closer to Shannon than Savannah, but I also don't think if it's a 4-person tribal that he's going to stick his neck out for her. If Rizzo and Savannah are both saying we're going to vote out Shannon, he's going to be like, well, I have a good relationship with both of them, and quite frankly, it's not worth saving my number 2 in this alliance over my number 3 if I really have to go there. So, like, Shannon, not only is she basically saying, I am fine with being 4th, here we are. You know, it's unfortunate for her in the situation, but she shouldn't have done what she did here.
Agreed.
So we then go to the immunity challenge. This is where Kele finds out that Jake has been evacuated officially from the game. Very emotional. I will say, this is a very weird part of Survivor for me. I have never seen an entire cast react like this to an evacuation. We've seen people be like, oh my God, the hell. And like shocked, especially when we've seen evacuations on bigger stages. But like Hina and Uli were stunned. And like,
I think also they felt really bad for Kele because like I think they explained it perfectly there. There's this human element of like you feel really bad that they're just getting kicked over and over and over again, but it's a game for $1 million. Like they're not going to stop what they're doing because it's their dreams too. So it's this weird. It's a bittersweet. I'm sure it's this weird dichotomy of like I want to win, but they are clearly suffering over there, like from all angles.
And I think what makes it worse is that they were like, oh, okay. Well, I mean, yeah, they're going to lose another person tonight, but there's no way it's Jake. Like, so seeing Jake go out is like a massive, like, oh, they're screwed. Like, they don't even have an option. We're getting to rest. We're getting to put in basically our best people here. They have to do this again and then have another puzzle. And I mean, I'm sure Jason looked at it and went, okay, I can beat whoever I'm going against there. And then on the other side, like Savannah and Rizzo have done decently at puzzles to where it's like everyone just kind of looked and went, we're just probably sending them back to tribal here. Like, there's almost no scenario unless one of us intentionally throws this competition. So
There was
I think
a small
it's
part of me in that moment where, speaking on that though, Jack, I really did think that maybe we were going to see Uli throw this, because there was a part of me that was like, maybe Savannah's going to want to throw this to just get Sage out of the game now. But also, and that we never saw any of that. And in the moment watching this challenge, we even see Kele gets to the puzzle before Uli by a decent amount. And like, it seems like they're getting it, right? Like Jeremiah gets the first couple pieces in this puzzle really quick. It's very similar to the fire puzzle from back in the day, but instead of it being flame, it's a big picture of a turtle. Also, very good design on this turtle. Good job.
It's very pretty. Yeah,
very pretty. But it's a huge puzzle. There's like 50 something pieces of the thing. It's big. And it seems at first like Kele's keeping up with Hina and Uli, and like maybe we're going to see probably one of the most feel-good moments in recent Survivor history in terms of, dear God, can these people catch a break? But no, we don't get it. Hina does what Hina has been doing all season. They let Jason do the puzzle. He is incredible, as he has been the entire show. Hina rolls through it. Uli's just behind them like they have been all season. And Kele was about 3/4 of the way done with the puzzle. But Hina and Uli do win this challenge, sending Kele back to Tribal Council again.
I will
and I would
note,
like to again remind Survivor Production, I don't give a damn if you keep doing the 3 tribe seasons. Give them their damn flint after the first Tribal Council.
Yeah.
This is the problem. It's not the 3 tribes. As much as I don't care for the 3 tribes as much, some of the best seasons we've ever had on the show have been 3 tribes. I think Philippines is such a top tier season.
I was going to say, if we're getting another Philippines, I'm so here for it. So.
I love Philippines, but when we go back and we think about it, Matsing lost a lot, yeah, but they were at least on a level playing field. And a lot of those challenges that they lost, they were like this close, right? Like I'm thinking specifically about the one where it was down to the 3 of them with the big wrecking ball on the pots. They almost won that challenge. Malcolm just missed a pot, and Artis, for some reason, is a god at throwing a wrecking ball at pots, apparently. Here, they don't have a way to eat reliably. They can go forage and they can maybe find some coconuts. But when you're compared to Hina, who has been winning every reward, so not only are they in a comfortable shelter, but they have fishing gear, they have a flint, they've had a flint since the first day. They can just make fire. And then Uli, who has consistently been outperforming them in challenges because they also have a fire and they can cook food. Like, give them the damn flint after the first Tribal Council like you used to do, and just let them live. Like, I get the idea of like, we need to make it harder on them. Yeah, you make it harder on them by not giving them any damn rice anymore. That's already hard enough.
Yeah.
And I will say, like, the one thing we didn't mention with Jake's elimination, there's at least a good factor of, oh yeah, they don't give them food or any sort of comforts anymore. So the only way for Jake to get better is to have some food in him. But he can't do that, so they have to pull him from the game. Like, if they were just given the normal rations that they get anyway, maybe Jake has a slightly better chance of staying in the game. But because his tribe lost first, whoops, you don't have food, meaning we cannot send you back into this game no matter what because of things we designed. And that, I think, is such a major fault that it's just, you're sending a tribe into a losing spiral nearly every single game. And you're designing the same thing over and over. It just, how many times can we read the same story before it just gets boring?
I also think over the history. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
I was saying, over the history of Survivor, we've seen tribes that eventually lose out to the other tribes. A lot of times it's because the conditions of their camp were just objectively worse than the other tribe. I think I remember reading that, like, was it the Morgan tribe on Pearl Islands? They were all sick and like throwing up and like other disgusting bodily fluid stuff. I think I remember also. I mean, even look at Fiji. I mean, that season alone shows you like the conditions of camp will tip the scales in any favor. Like, I forget the tribe names, but the haves and the have-nots. The have tribe, I think, always
They
won
didn't
over the
lose.
have-not tribe.
They
They
didn't
The
didn't
have
lose.
tribe
lose.
won every
They
single
went.
time.
The one time the Have Tribe went to Tribal Council, it was literally they were given the option of go to Tribal or lose your expensive shelter. And you have a guy you don't want on your tribe anymore, we'll just go to Tribal, vote him out, and move on. Like, it didn't matter. And even after the swap too, the Have Tribe won every damn challenge
It
on
did not
Fiji.
matter who was on it; they always won.
Yeah, and I mean, take it back even further, right? We're looking at some of these seasons where some of these tribes just suck, right? Look at Survivor 29. Let's talk about the same one. Let's start real quick, right? Koyopa, they're losing everything. I think Koyopa, I forget which tribe was which, but the tribe that Natalie Anderson was on, they're eating more rice, right? They are actively eating more than they're supposed to be, but they're better fed. They won everything, and the reason they won everything was because they were eating too more. I don't want to say eating too much, but like eating more than normal on the show.
It
To the
became
point
a
where Jeff was like,
storyline.
yeah, and it became a storyline of Jeff being like, y'all are out of food. Here's some rice that'll get you to the end, but you're losing everything now. And guess what? They started losing challenges after that. Like, camp conditions matter so much more than we want to act like they do. And let's talk about the fact that out of our 9 New Era seasons, 4 of them have featured a tribe that lost 3 of the first 5 immunity challenges.
Do we know
crazy.
what beach it's on? Because I think people say in interviews that objectively one of the beaches is the worst one to be on. I think I remember like returning seasons going to Fiji. They're saying like, "Oh, we're crap. We're on this beach. This beach sucks."
So it
I can
was the
double
Tika
check.
Beach. It was the Tika Beach originally is the one that people really don't like. It was also the Lulu Beach. But I'm trying to remember. I don't know which beach they're on now, but I can tell you right now that this is the first time we've had a yellow tribe not be the suck tribe in New Era. But like,
Oh, yellow tribe.
go yellow tribe, go Hina. Y'all have been. Shout out to Jason. Jason has been hard carrying in these puzzles.
Yeah.
Imagine they swap Jason for like Alex.
Different season.
Different season. Entirely different season.
Entirely different season.
I mean, Jake would still probably have been evacuated, but still. And like when we look at where we're at now with Kele, we're down to 3. Anybody want to remember the last time we had a 3-person tribal council? How long it's been? Oh wait, it's not been that long, has it?
Yeah, it hasn't been.
But here we are again. Quickly before we get into the tribal council aspect, they cut this in between the tribal council talk on Kele, but we go back to the Uli Beach, and they basically rehash the Hina plot line in the beginning of the episode.
Yeah.
Let's go find the Beware advantage. We need to be ready to go up against Hina whenever we need it. We need to have it. They go look, and they look, and they look, and guess what? They look, and finally, who but freaking Rizzo finds the Beware advantage, tells the entire tribe, choice.
I don't why.
The thing is, at that point, Rizzo's best option is to keep the tribe perfectly strong because he's already in the majority. It genuinely doesn't matter. What it tells his alliance is that they have the idol, and what it tells the people outside his alliance is they can stop looking because they're screwed.
Well, let's bring this up because this is something I'm curious about. So it's the idol has been the same way the entire season. We do know that it's after your tribe loses an immunity challenge, you go down to the well, dig near the well, you find a thing, then you take the ball and chain, and you find the box, and then you open the box, and boom, idol, right? I'm really curious to see how this pans out because we do know from the spoilers at the end of the episode, not only are we getting a tribe swap, Rizzo is going to be on Hina. We have seen him in a yellow buff. So I'm wondering how this is going to work. Imagine we have both Rizzo and MC are on Hina. the Trina loses immunity, do they both get a ball and chain? How does that work? Will there be two boxes? I'm curious how this will turn out.
I was wondering if while they're away, production goes and reburies stuff at the new tribes. Like they're like, oh, Rizzo's on Hina now. Go wherever the water well and bury it there. You know, I'm wondering if that's what they do.
I have a feeling what'll end up happening if somehow if MC and Rizzo are on the same tribe after the swap, I'm gonna bet that production's not gonna let that happen, and they're gonna find a way to finagle it and do the things like, here are your buffs, Tina. Here are your buffs to pull from Uli, and find a way to like finagle it so they're on different tribes. Or maybe it won't be random, and it'll be like you're a captain and you're a captain in schoolyard pick or whatever. I hope that we have found a way to make this not be you have found both balls and chains and now you can go find both immunity idols. That would suck. So we'll see how that turns out for Rizzo.
I have a feeling that what they're probably going to do is just they're going to have two different maps prepared and just like lightly change some things around. It wouldn't be the first time that they've produced assets out of essentially nothing, because all they're doing is printing essentially onto like parchment they already have. So it wouldn't be impossible for them to go, oh shoot, we hit that weird eventuality where two people are on the same tribe and both have beware advantages that haven't been triggered yet. Pull out the two routes that we have because we prepped multiple routes in case something went wrong with one of them. Like, oh, we're pretty sure we can hide it here, here, or here. Okay, well, we actually can't hide it here now, so we just have two of them prepared, and we can just decide which one to go with.
Well, I mean, we haven't. Yeah, we haven't seen a situation like this before. I've always wondered this because these beware advantages are now have like timing on them. So I was always wondering, like, if you just miss the timing, I can't vote for the rest of the game? Certainly not.
Well, we do know that if they don't get the idol this season, after the tribe loses immunity, they just don't have it at the next tribal, and then the idol is dead. So at least this season we have an answer to that. I'm less concerned about the voting at this point than I am about what happens if somebody happens to get two balls and chains on the same tribe. But we'll see how that turns out next time, because we got to talk about this tribal council, which I will say for a 3-person tribal council, surprisingly interesting.
Yeah.
I don't even think the Matt Singh 3-person tribal was even this good, and I think that council's pretty great too. We have Alex has the immunity idol. Everyone knows it. There is no hiding it. This is just where we're at. But the thing is, Jeremiah and Sophie want to vote out Alex because they're each other's number ones on the tribe at this point because Jake is gone now. And at first it seems like, okay, we're going to try to make Alex really, really comfortable and maybe not play his idol. And if he doesn't play his idol, we can vote out Alex and both of us are still here. And we got Alex's idol out of the game. We flushed his idol. But it's not that simple, Timmy. And it's very complicated as we move in because Alex is a good player. Alex knows that his best play, no matter what, is to probably play his idol.
Yeah. I think someone as good as him, someone who's shown his strategic chops like him, he was always going to play this idol. You can't go home in this situation with the idol in your pocket. And it's such a difficult situation. I would be too scared at 3. I'd be like, I don't know if I'm as close to this person as they are with somebody else. That's such a narrow margin. Just play your idol. Like, always just play your idol. And I think it should be a red flag when someone is trying to make you feel comfortable not to play your idol. So I'm wondering if all of the push from Sophie may have pushed him to be like, oh, I'm definitely playing my idol now. If she's kind of being like, oh, you should save it for merge, and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, we can't hear you, Brook.
Thank you. Sophie with an I, you gave this your damnedest, though. I wanna make this abundantly clear.
Yes,
oh my Lord. Sophie in this episode made me go from I like her to I like her. Because seeing in this episode, watching Sophie go like, okay, look, realistically, I know it's me or Jeremiah, but what if I at least try and see what I can do? And I think by the end of this episode, she's the real winner in this situation, because not only does she manage to convince Alex that, she's wants to work with him, that she's going to be there for him. She's already been there for him through all of this. They were in the 4, but before that, they were in the 3. Don't forget the 3 in the 4. It's very important. But they were in that 3 together. And she knows that Jeremiah wasn't in the 3. Remember, the 3 is a 3 in the 4, not to be confused with the 4 in the 6. But Sophie's just playing such a good positional game on Kele, where if this were a situation of like a Survivor Guatemala kind of vibe, I would liken her to Stephanie LaGrossa here. I think she has Palau. Not Guatemala, Stephanie. Palau, Stephanie. Because she found a way to, even with the worst possible situation happening to her with Jake getting evacuated, she's like, I can get this man on my side, and I know what I need to do. And if I don't think he's going to play the idol, maybe I'll vote him out with Jeremiah. If he does play his idol, then I'm voting for Jeremiah. And I'm going to read him before the vote to know what I need to do.
Mm-hmm.
Jeremiah, on the other hand, I don't think he plays this poorly. I think he played it okay. But when we're comparing pretty great social reading to, I'm going to treat this as lightly as I possibly can to make sure that I'm not actively making myself a bigger threat or possibly a better target to him, I don't know how well it worked for him. And I do think even in the end, he even voted for Alex.
Yeah.
And that was unfortunate for him too, because I don't think Jeremiah would have went home had Jake not been evacuated in this episode. I really don't. But
no,
I don't. And I know people are going to be like, oh, well, the 3 would have stuck together and just voted out Jeremiah. I don't think so. I think Sophie would have done everything in her damn power to get Alex out of this game. And I think if Alex found out about that, either Sophie or Alex was going home if Jake hadn't been evacuated here. I fully believe that.
I liken Sophie's resolve to kind of pull off the impossible, because she knows Alex is likely going to play it. It kind of gave me mirrors of Suri being like, do you think you can get Eric to give you your necklace? It's like, you think of what you can do. I think Jeremiah a perfectly fine player, perfectly reasonable, strategic, was just like, Alex has all the cards really at this tribal. So I'm just going to vote for Alex in the hopes that we convinced him, because he's really the decider either way. But Sophie thought, how can I make this more in my power? And I think she really worked it in her power. And she read the situation. She voted for Jeremiah. I think her voting for Jeremiah works in so many situations also. Even if he doesn't play his idol and then votes for, I don't know, Sophie, she was worried, it's a 3-way tie, and still they go to a revote where I think Jeremiah still goes out. I just think she played the situation where Sophie is perfectly safe, and that is her good gameplay. So kudos to her for this episode.
Well, let's look at it from a bigger perspective too. Let's say Alex does play his idol. Jeremiah votes for Alex. Sophie votes for Jeremiah. And then Alex votes for Sophie, right? So it's a tie between Jeremiah and Sophie. And then you get to see Alex go, oh, Sophie didn't vote for me, but Jeremiah did.
Sophie was always on my side.
And Sophie was on my side and votes out Jeremiah. And I have to say, masterstroke here. I think this was incredible gameplay from Sophie with an eye. You ate.
It takes some of the power back from Alex, who was in the power position to begin with at this final 3.
Absolutely. Something also to touch on. Jeff Probst at Tribal Council tonight. One of my favorite Jeff performances at Tribal in a hot minute, because I can tell, one, he also felt very bad for this tribe. So he wasn't being a shitter, and he wasn't trying to make a authentic moment, snapshot happen. He legit just had a conversation with them. And he elevated the tribal in a way that I haven't seen from Jeff in a minute. We're getting to hear Jeff talk about like the job interview that was happening with, we talk about like Alex saying that he was basically having a job interview with Jeremiah and Sophie, and Jeff keeps the banter going. The closing little thing before they go to vote of him being like, first tribal council, you all said there was a leak in the boat. Now it's a shipwreck. But there's a lifeboat coming. Only 2 of you can get on it. That was great. I really enjoyed Jeff in this moment as well. And I think it really elevated a tribal council that could have been good to pretty great, all things considered. I
will note, essentially just going through the scenarios here. The worst case scenario is that for this tribal in general.
Going through the what?
I just realized the other trigger word I said.
Scenarios.
There we go. So the worst case scenario for Sophie is that she gets voted out. In any case, that's her worst case. Mm-hmm. Her second worst case is she gets Jeremiah voted out. But Alex is aware that she voted for him. In terms of like, it's a 2-1, Alex negates 2 votes, Jeremiah goes home, Alex is now just pissed at Sophie. The second best is this sort of scenario where it's like, yeah, Alex and Sophie are fine and they're working together. But the best scenario, and I think what was partially missed here, if Sophie can kind of just make sure that Idol stays and that she's going to essentially have Alex's number 1 Raptor. She's going to be Alex's number 1 as his number 1 left the game. I think that might have been a better play for her. Now, realistically, she doesn't have control of this idol. She wanted it. So maybe, like, obviously, this is like she keeps the idol with Alex. She doesn't keep the idol but stays in Alex's good graces. Alex is pissed off. She goes home. Like, it's a very, very slim margin between the 2 cases here. But I do think we might see a situation where it's like, well, if Alex had his idol and didn't just burn it here, the 2 of them could have been in a better spot. Like, if the tribes... If there is that majority and it's like, well, we don't know what we're going to do with the 2 people who are alone, let's just snipe one of Kele out here on this like new swap tribe. That would have been a decent use for the idol to be like, you're not going to do that. We're now going to link up with the others. Now they have no safety nets if they don't end up as swings.
I think that's a good point to have more protection going in. But I think bringing up my tagline here, we're looking at are we maybe looking at a Nat Singh situation where Malcolm and Denise are both exceptional players. They're great Survivor players, both of them.
Oh, yeah.
And that wasn't sniffed out by the tribes that they were broken up to be alone with on each side. I also think when we saw the people react to Jake getting voted out, Jake was clearly the target that all those other tribes, if they swapped onto, they wanted to get rid of. They're like, let's take away the muscle from their tribe. Now that Jake's gone, I think that threat level from Kele is like significantly diminished. And I think, honestly, a lot of them don't see them as like threats. And so it might buy them enough time to worm their way in. We've seen... at least on Uli, that central 4, at least with Savannah, her mind kind of like she's willing to change loyalties wherever she sees suits her best. So it just takes one of those people in those core 4 to be like, I can take one of these Kele people and make it work for me, that they'll be going far. And I kind of feel like they have the chops to find those inroads and go, especially Sophie after this episode. She definitely saw the board. I do agree with you, Jack. There might have been a better play on the board for her here, but I think she played this very well, and I actually have a really positive outlook for her in the game, and Alex too. Alex is a good player.
Yeah.
Something I want to highlight here, though, in particular. First off, I haven't really said it yet. Jeremiah does go home in this tribal council.
Yeah.
For the
Sad.
record, the 15th place gay man curse strikes again.
15th place gay man, also normally of Asian descent of some kind.
Yeah, it's
Weird
a
coincidence.
combo. It's a weird set of circumstances here, but Jeremiah once again contributing to the 15th person out being a gay man trend of the new era. Yet another, I don't want to say fun statistic, but statistic. From the
Another interesting statistic.
Yes. But also importantly, on top of this, we are confirmed that we are having a tribe swap next episode. So we are officially done with the disaster tribe for the time being, at least. And we can confirm the Matt Singh arc has begun. I repeat, the Matt Singh arc has begun. So, in case some of you all not aware, when we speak of the Matt Singh arc, we talk about Survivor Philippines, okay? And I know we have mentioned Survivor Philippines about 20 times in this damn episode, but literally it was a 3-person tribe season where the blue tribe sucked ass again compared to a red and yellow tribe that ended up with a man and a woman as the last two standing after some crazy amount of circumstances involving an immunity idol. What else do you want from us, okay? So let's ask the panel here before we, as we begin wrapping up here. Do you see either one of these two players completing the Matt Singh trajectory here?
I think at least one of them will go far. I think the last time I was thinking of this situation was with Caleb and Emily in 45, where Caleb got sniped pretty quickly, but Emily made it pretty far into the season.
Oh, I'm sorry, you mean financial analyst Emily Flippin?
Yes, exactly. Who we shall see again, and she's going to slay. Let's go, Emily.
I cannot wait to once again see financial analyst Emily Flippin. For the record, Emily Flippin as a character on Survivor is a top 10 Survivor character for me of all time. Yeah. Up there with like the Debbies of the world. Of like, I just want to see them do things.
But yeah, I think there is a high chance that both of them do well. I think if they need to rely on each other and put trust, because I do think that they need to play it really well. I don't know how else to say this other than they need to keep their threat level down, and they need to see where the weak points of the other tribes are. I think we are seeing the stage be set, though, that Hina and Uli are looking at each other solely. Like they were talking as like, we are a 6 going against their 6. It's almost as if they're like writing off Kele completely, which is a big mistake as we've seen like historically. Like there's still 2 people, they can still win as long as they're still in the game. Is anybody going to take a note of that? Maybe. And I think in the modern season there are a lot of people who are always considering every possibility, but I think I'm going to hope that we see a Matt Singh arc because they are fun to watch. I always enjoy underdog stories like this. I also liked when what was it? Cook Islands, the 4, whatever they were called. Yes. And then they were the final 4, like just a fun.
The I-24.
I-24.
The I-24 being quite possibly the single best arc of a tribe in the history of Survivor. Oh dear God, I love Cook Islands so much. And I know it's a hot take to have on the internet nowadays. Go back and rewatch Cook Islands and realize how much we have slept on that season for years.
But seasons like that are so fun. Like Final 12, there are only 4 of them against a tribe of 8, and they become the final 4 of the season. Those are fun seasons to watch because it's fun to watch.
Jonathan Penner.
It's fun to watch winners have to work for their win. That's why we like underdogs, because we like to see them fight for it. And they're definitely going to, sorry, Sophie, sorry, Alex, if you're going to win this season, you're really going to have to fight for it. But I'm here and I'm rooting for y'all.
Jack?
At least on my end, Alex is just being treated as like the typical, oh, this person found an idol, so they're moving on to the next stage of this game. We saw Sophie put in work here and essentially control a tribal in which she was 1 and 2 people in danger into, no, I'm safe. Jeremiah is going home regardless. Like, either one path is happening or the other path is happening, but no matter what, I'm good today. That kind of power, I can easily see her kind of like sweeping through this game as long as she can get good allies from other tribes.
Mm-hmm.
Alex, early merge boot.
I don't want to say this as in I am comparing this man to this man, but I will say the person Alex is reminding me a lot of right now is Albert from South Pacific, and not in the yes man kind of way or like the appeasement kind of way, but in the has a good grasp on the game, has good game strategy, knows what he's doing, but I don't really know where he's gonna go from here in a way that would be good and compelling for him. Whereas with Sophie, I could see her linking up with any number of people on this cast and then be like, yeah, this is a good ally to have. And with the swap being a 14 swap, and basically confirming we're getting 2 tribes of 7 here, thank God. Imagine 2 swaps of 3 people from both Hina and Uli with a Kele in the middle. I'm sat. Please, dear Lord, Survivor God, make it happen this one time. And by Survivor Gods, I mean Jeff Probst. Rig this tribe swap to be 3-3-1 on both tribes, please.
Also, shout out to South Pacific, another iconic Sophie.
Mother
her one,
absolutely, yes.
Yeah, and who with the toilet flushing confessional about said Albert.
Yeah, the crazy thing about, and again, we don't talk about Sophie Clark that much anymore, which we should. But considering how well she did on Winners at War, oh my Lord, she could have won Winners at War under different circumstances. But beside the point, let us know down below, who do you think is most likely to complete a potential Matt Singh arc? Who do you think is going to be making it further in this game? And also, do you think Shannon should have done what she did to Sage in this episode? Let us know, because that's actually where I'm curious on. I want to hear if somebody try to rationalize this to me, because I don't get it still. But thank you so much for joining us here today at the Cup. We'll be back next week to talk about the swap and another boot as we get closer and closer to the merge here. Let us know, who do you think is going to be on 50? Don't look it up. The spoilers are out there. But
and if you know, just pretend you don't.
If you know, just make a lie about it being Jonathan Libby and Wanda Shirk. Okay? Just talk about it being Wanda Shirk and Jonathan Libby. Everything will be fine. And we can pretend that Survivor finally called Wanda back. Thank you very much.
I was thinking of her little singing iconic.
We'll talk about it after we finish.
Okay, yeah, let's wrap it up.
Yeah, okay. Thank you guys so much for joining us here today. We'll be back next week to talk more about Survivor 49. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button, punch that notification bell, thumbs up the video, share it, do all the fun YouTube things, because we are, like we mentioned, trying to get 1,000 new subscribers across all of our channels this year. We've actually, if we want to be technical, we've kind of already done it, because the drag channel has done incredibly well this year.
Another 1,000.
We appreciate any and all support, even outside of that. But let us know what you guys are thinking down below, who you want to go far, who you're rooting for, why it's Savannah, like everyone else who has a brain. And we'll see you guys next time. So cheers, everybody.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Get on out of here.
Ain't got nothing for you. Head on back to camp.
Bye.